Hey Bosco, what's up, man? I appreciate you giving me a chance to do an interview. That's pretty cool. So I'm just gonna shoot that rolling from my taxi right here. Let's see, it's currently 1:33 a.m. and I'm driving through the streets of Eugene, Oregon, which is a really sketchy place, man. I don't know how many people have really been here, but we definitely have a hood, and at night it definitely gets really sketchy. But this is what I do. I do a lot of medical transport this time of night and basically bring homeless people back to their shacks, their pallet huts, or whatever it is that may be that they call home. And it can be sad. It's always an adventure, but it can be sad. It can be really freaking funny sometimes too. You asked what I really appreciate, what I like about my job, and I'll tell you that is that it's kind of given me an opportunity to embrace street culture, which I've always known was here. And it's funny because a lot of people that live in this town have no idea about the underworld here. They just don't even know that any of this shit goes on, and it's rampant. I mean, parking lot prostitution, a lot of drug use, just open air drug use everywhere. And it's really cold tonight. It's just dipping just above freezing. So people in that situation will say or do just about anything to get into a nice warm car. So it's, doors locked, payment up front for any cash rides. So, that's what I like about my job is I've kind of hardened a bit and, gotten very keen on street culture and gotten to know some people that if you're going to be out this time of night, it's important to know and to have your back. It's something that a lot of people, I guess, wouldn't be proud of, that, in the past couple of years, I've really embraced people in the streets more so than, fine, upstanding citizens. But I'll tell you, there's a fine line between the two. And you're going to get more honesty from people on the skids sleeping on concrete than you're going to get from, for instance, well-to-do people that I'll pick up at a nice hotel, take them to the airport early in the morning, and it's just a bunch of fakery conversation. I have to pretend to be another person. I have to pretend to like the local sports or be all up on their culture, whatever that may be. And, at the end of those rides, I kind of question, like, who was that guy that was just driving those people? And then the next ride, I'll be picking up someone from the emergency room, maybe with no toes, bare feet, smelling like piss, and I'll drive them out to some railroad tracks, literally, where I'll drop them off, and they scamper off to a village that they've created in some blackberry brambles, which they cut out, they'll carve a place out with a machete, bring all their stuff back there, their food boxes, they'll bring wood pallets back there, tarps, and make themselves a home and a community. That's very real in the culture here, and a lot of people just don't know that. So that's what I like about my job. That's what I'm thankful about, is that I've become so much more aware of the community, in that I know about everyday life here for everybody, for most people, but I know about that underworld too. And I think it's a healthy thing to be fully aware of what's going on around you. It's interesting too, you ask about, is it worth what I'm doing? Yeah, it is. A lot of people think that cab drivers just live off their tips. This is like all a minimum wage thing, but no, I'll tell you, it's structured a lot different than that. It's something where we go out and get our money. They give us that opportunity to make the most out of our shift, and it's really up to you and what you put into it. And it's a bit of a hustle. I get interesting things in trade sometimes. There's been things I would get in trade that I turn around and flip on eBay. Things like that. And as far as tipping, it's always going to be true that the locals here, living paycheck to paycheck, will tip you much better than the people that, in their nice clothes that are here for a sporting event or whatever. You take them to the airport, it'd be like a $32 fare, and you go to run the card. Every time you run a card for somebody, ask them if they're going to put a tip on it. Don't be ashamed about that, because you're never going to see these people again. Be assertive, and those nice, well-dressed people, they'll say, yeah, put $3 on for yourself, or put $5 on for yourself. It's like, oh, thank you, on a $32 fare, I appreciate that. I'm going to eat today, yay. But you take a local across town on an $11 ride, they're going to hand you a $20 bill and say, we're good, keep the change. They'll tip you 80, 100% or more just because they love the community and they've got your back. So that is really cool. You asked, are there dangers in what I'm doing? Is it dangerous? Yeah, it is. I have been assaulted. I was assaulted pretty violently a few months ago, but it was just the stupidest thing because it was a medical ride. I had the guy's information. I had his name, his address, which I was able to pass right on to the police. They picked him up within 20 minutes. And long story short, I just heard from the DA a couple days ago that guy's doing 18 months in prison for what he did to me. So that's a little bit of justification. And it did rattle me some, it shook me up. It took me a while to get my composure and my confidence back. But all in all, we're protected by our windshield camera. We have a camera that shoots constantly, all angles, all directions. And he just happened to assault me right in front of the car with the headlights on us like an idiot. So it's not a job that I would recommend to females. There are females that drive at night, but they primarily do airport rides, that sort of thing, and they're not making quite the money that others are that are willing to go down certain rabbit holes. But it's worth it enough to them that they stick around because they've been there for a couple of years. In general, this job just isn't for everybody. People will start cab driving because they hear there's really good money in it, which there is, and they'll do it for a few months, and that money just does not materialize for them. But it's going to be 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 months before the magic starts to happen, before you really start to understand what the game is and what you're doing and how the area is broken up into different zones and where to be when. So yeah, you don't want to leave before that magic happens, but that's true in many situations where you're going to be required to have some patience and build some skills. That's what that's all about. How long have I been doing this? It's been just about 2 years now. And I got to tell you, I wish that it had been for all of my adult life. I would be a lot further along than I am. But it is what it is. And it's enough that I can build myself a decent little future. I can put some money away for retirement, so that's a good thing. And yeah, I would encourage anybody to check it out. I mean, it's different cities structure things differently when it comes to cab driving, different permit systems, different ways that you're required to pay. But the way it is here in Eugene, I'll tell you what, I just love it. And actually, I just drifted over into Springfield now, into the zone 204, which is a really good zone to be in because I'm certified to do medical transport, and this is where the hospitals are. So it's not going to be too long before my tablet is calling me to pick someone up from the emergency room, to take them, most often this time of night, to take them back to one of the homeless communities here. And it's sad, like I say, but somebody has to do it. And the state puts a whole lot of money into this kind of stuff. People will think that in Oregon, they'll think that there's so many people on the streets because the state or the government doesn't do anything for them. But the truth is that they pay, for individuals that are willing to have just some little level of responsibility and just be on the radar, the state will shower them with money, literally like from a fire hose. They will pay more a month for those people than most people make a month working. It's really astonishing when you get down to the brass tacks of it. And there are a lot of people who don't want to be on the radar for whatever reason. They just want to be able to blend into the woodwork, but that's on them. They're not going to be benefiting from all that the state is willing to do for them. So yeah, it's just really a mix of people out there. There's a lot of desperation. There's a lot of situations where you just have to read the situation and assess, look at this person. Do they have money, for one? And, I end up doing a lot of charity rides, don't get me wrong. If I'm just sitting in the middle of the night and someone really needs a ride somewhere and it's not taking me out of my way, sure, chances are I'm going to do it. There are situations even where I will pick people up in the middle of the night. They've been at the emergency room for, say, 6 or 8 hours. They're hungry. It's like, all right, well, let's loop through McDonald's and I'll, get them, a McDouble, a chicken sandwich or something. That's all on me, but there's rewards in that too. There's been situations where I could tell, my generosity at that moment has really turned their mood around or their night around for the better. And that's rewarding. But you don't do things like that for people to brag on it or pat yourself on the back. So I'll just leave that there. There are a lot of do-gooders in the community who can't stop shouting about what they do for people. And I don't know, they just must be empty in some other way. But yeah, if you want to follow up with any of this, Bosco, man, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you. And I hope you get some stars for this. I hope you just can keep going out there and doing what you do with your content. I like following you, and I appreciate what you're doing. And if you want to follow up on this, or if there's anything else you want to know about street life in Eugene, Oregon, or just anything else in general that you think that I can help inform you on, please hit me up, G. All right. Thank you.
I feel like a lot of people would sleep with their partner in the same bedroom, but it's kind of hard to wrap my mind on separate bedrooms because I think getting used to that, it will probably always be that way, you know?
My thoughts on that would be it depends on how long you've been together. I think in the beginning, everything is new, but when you're with somebody probably like 15, 20 plus years and such, I don't think that it says anything about your relationship. It's just that you guys have been together so long all the time that sometimes you just want your space. I don't think it says anything about whether you your love for a person or you're tired of a person. It's just, you're together a lot, especially if you're together a lot, then, separate beds, separate rooms. But I don't know about all night though. That hits different. You know what I'm saying?
Are Black men facing an identity crisis? I'll say this again, not in my household, but some, yes. I think that as we progress as a culture and we make strides in success, there may be like a balancing act in how we grew up versus what we come into. So for example, and this could be for men or women, I was reading an article about a very influential, amazing woman. I don't want to say her name, but she came from very humble beginnings, and as she progressed and to higher education and all these doors opened up to her through this education, she felt herself trying to figure out her place in society while coming from this, but now having all of these doors open. So I think that it would be very easy to have an identity crisis as we progress as a culture. Best Black sitcom of all time, In Living Color. All right, I don't mean that. I just remember really loving The Cosby Show. Like, just putting all the stuff that happened since it was around on a regular basis. It was a great show. It's something that I watch because it's just like, I just like shows like that, that are very wholesome. And I think a lot of people might say who watched it, like, this is like a great example, or that show was a great example of a successful, powerful Black couple in a world where maybe in a time where it was a lot harder to accomplish those things. And that show was available to the masses where it portrayed it to everyone. So our community wasn't just looked at in a certain light. We were looked at as if, hey, this is us too. Just like you, we have people who come from all walks of life, so you have to treat us as such. Is modern day rap destructive? No, I don't think it's like how it used to be. Maybe I'm just an old fogey now. But, when you think about Biggie and Tupac, I think that was destructive. And sad. Now, I will say, I don't think Drake can come back from this beef. I'm just saying, Kendrick Lamar tore his behind up, and I'm not sure Drake is going to come back from it. But, it's an art form. And I don't think it's destructive. I think that we've got some really great artists that are going to, it's going to evolve or help it evolve even further. But yeah, poor Drake. If he comes back with something else, it better be a banger, but I think it's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard. Well, that's it from me today. Thank you, Bosco, again, for allowing this opportunity to come forth. Thank you that we've been able to network and make this happen. And if you guys want to look for more content from me, check out my YouTube channel at so_unique1. And don't forget to check out Owls Now podcast, where I also co-host. Thank you so much.
I've been watching these team competitive game shows and things like that, and it's something that I've noticed between the winning team and the losing teams. The winning teams usually have a leadership with established roles, and the leadership listens to all the members of their team or their organization. I can say that. They listen to the members of their team, and there are defined roles, and each person is okay with being held accountable in their role, right? On the losing teams, there seems to always be a power struggle, and the members of the team often their roles are confused, and so there's a power struggle and roles are confused. And the leader, and most occasions, the leader is a dictator or wants to be a dictator. They just want to tell people what to do, and they just listen to it. They don't listen to the team. Everything just has to be their way. It's either their way or no way. The other thing that I've noticed, the difference between the teams, the winning team and the losing team, the winning team is unified in their mission. They're unified. When on the losing team, there are individual goals. So even if, say for instance, if they're all trying to win a championship or win this game, the team members will have individual goals, meaning that they have individual motivations. They're not motivated by the same things, right? The third thing that I've noticed is that the winning team seems to always encourage and uplift the team members, and there's always a positive attitude. On the losing team, they get discouraged, they want to quit, and they have a negative attitude, right? And this led me to think of, I don't know if I made this term up myself or something that I read somewhere. It's called the negative syndrome. The negative syndrome, right? The negative syndrome is when negative actions combined with negative behavior creates negative people. And another way of saying that is one bad apple ruins the whole bunch, right? This is why good players, if you've ever noticed in teams, NFL, NBA, wherever, teams, if they have a good player that has a bad attitude, they call them a locker room cancer. And it is best to have that team member or teammate removed from the team, because what it will do is bring down the morale of the members of the team. So all in all, a successful organization has to have good leadership that listens, that's not a dictator. Other people who have defined roles, who are okay with being held accountable in those roles. They have to be unified in their mission. You cannot have different individual goals on the team. Everyone has to be unified in their mission, and you must keep a positive attitude, because if not, the negative syndrome will spread and bring everyone down. Top 10 songs. The top 10 songs for you to you know what to. This is top 10 songs for you to you know what to. Okay, and I'm going to give them, and I know people are going to have a problem, and I'm going to tell you something. The Isley Brothers could actually be the entire top 10, to be honest. That's it. Or if not the Isley Brothers, R. Kelly. And people are going to take issue with me saying R. Kelly, whatever. I don't want to. Everything's debatable, but I don't want to hear it. No, it's just he sung some songs. They were nice. And as a matter of fact, he's number one on my list. Honey Love. Honey Love is number one on my list of the songs you know what to. The second one is by Leah, Rock the Boat. Love that song. To me, that's one of her greatest songs she ever made. Number 3, I got the Isley Brothers on here. Between the Sheets by the Isley Brothers. Number 4, I got Janet Jackson's Anytime. Anytime, you know how it go. 5th, I got Break It Down by Tevin Campbell. You remember that one? Some of y'all probably don't even know what these, like, what are you talking about? I'm actually getting, indicating my age here. But yeah, Tevin Campbell, Break It Down. I don't want nobody else to hear the sound. Okay, 6, I got Usher's Nice and Slow. You gotta have that on there. 7, R. Kelly again, 12 play. 8, I actually got R. Kelly on there the 3rd time with his remix for Bump and Grind. I don't know if anyone remembers the Chocolate City remix. You probably don't remember that. Chocolate City remix. I mentioned it to my wife. She's like, what are you talking about? You don't remember that? Yeah, Chocolate City remix, Bump and Grind. Number 9, my wife said that this did not belong there and I should probably take this one off. But it's Belle Biv DeVoe's Something in Your Eye. And maybe it's just nostalgic for me. I don't know. And lastly, intro, Come Inside. If you let me come inside, I'll keep. Y'all didn't know I had them skills. But yeah, that's about it for right now. I do want to thank you again for watching Everything's Debatable.